students, welcome to the ongoing lecture series on international business. We have been discussing regional economic integrations and this time this is part 4. I am Professor Soma Sen Gupta, Kamla Nehru College, University of Delhi. In this lecture we will continue with our discussion on cost and benefit of regional economic integration. We have already discussed the general benefits, also we have discussed the economic benefits of REI. Then we will discuss the integration efforts among the countries and especially we will touch North America in this lecture. So, continuing with the economic benefits of regional economic integration. So, other economic benefits are as follows: increased trade, removing tariffs and other trade barriers boost intra-regional trade and investment flows. So, that we know that in a bloc naturally the trade among the member nations will be manifold, will increase manifold, and also they can do trade with other countries which are non-members. Then economies of scale, as they will produce more in unison, then naturally the cost of production will go on reducing. There is a huge demand for the product because a bloc has many countries and everybody may be demanding that product, and that is why when the demand increases, the production also increases and the benefit of economies of scale flows throughout the union. Countries can specialize and exploit economies of scale, leading to increased production capacity and lower costs. So, this is a great opportunity for any trading bloc to flourish because they will get the benefit of not only higher production and higher supply of the commodities, but also cost reduction in the form of economies of scale. The third advantage is market expansion. Businesses gain access to larger markets for their goods and services, allowing them to grow and become more competitive. So, first, within the bloc the market expands. Second, since they are working in unison, their cost of manufacturing goes down, also the quality of products increases. So, the non-members become their market and they can sell their products over there also. So, they can expand their market not only within the bloc, but they can go beyond the bloc and in a unified manner. Then enhance competitiveness. Greater competition within the integrated market encourages innovation and improves product quality. So, although we are touching this point here in the positives, it can go as a negative also, but here we are discussing it as a positive. So, competitiveness will be there between the different members also, and the one which is which can produce a particular product because it has an advantage, then they will concentrate on production of that product only. Job creation. The growth in trade and investment leads to more job opportunities across the region, and moreover, as we have discussed, that in such a union or bloc there is a free movement of people also from one place to another. So, the entire bloc is open for a person looking for employment. Greater investment, a larger integrated market is more attractive to both domestic and foreign investors. So, when we are dealing, suppose a non-member is dealing with European Union. So, once they gain entry to European Union, they have captured in a way a major market. So, because European Union itself is a big market for any outsider. So, the China, India always look for European Union as a single market so that they can gain entry and it will be a bigger market. Foreign investors are also drawn towards these unions, the blocs which are very successful. Improved resource allocation happens, like countries can specialize in sectors where they have a competitive advantage, leading to a more efficient allocation of resources. Now coming to the political and social benefits of regional economic integration. So, beside the most important factor, that is the economic benefit, there can be political and social benefits also, which keep the members together and promotes regional economic integration. So, the first point in this is enhanced political cooperation. So, economic integration links economies, which makes them more dependent upon each other, providing incentive for political cooperation among member nations. So, if we again take the example of European Union, there is a political cooperation and peace happening between the member nations, because they are working in unison, they are together, they are cooperating not only on economic terms, but also in terms of political cooperation or social cooperation. Integration is a vital tool for addressing the issue of political instability and conflicts. So, if they integrate together, the whole of the region will gain, since there will be no political instability or conflict between the nations. So, suppose SAARC becomes a stronger union, then we can presume or we can believe that our relations with our neighboring countries will improve. But unfortunately, SAARC is not that strong union of people or of member nations as it is with other economic bloc, especially the European Union. Moreover, by grouping, member nations can enjoy political strength in the world. Then another point related to that is political stability and peace. Economic interdependence can reduce the likelihood of conflict and promote dialogue and cooperation between the member nations. Enhanced global influence is also possible. You can see how much influence European Union has on other countries. Why? Because they are a big bloc and very strong or strongly knit bloc. A bloc of integrated countries often has greater collective bargaining power on the international stage. Shared public goods. Member countries can cooperate and share the cost of large infrastructure projects and public services. Cultural exchange also happens. The increased flow of people, goods and ideas can foster greater understanding and cultural exchange between the nations. So, that is also another benefit of regional economic and we can say social benefit of regional economic integration. Improved living standards. By fostering economic growth and cooperation, integration can lead to higher living standards for citizens in the member states. So, you will see that in European Union, there are the West European countries, when they joined the Union, they were those economies were, the standard of living were higher in comparison to East European countries which joined the European Union. But now the East European countries are also growing, and the standard of living over there, like when we talk about Poland, the standard of living is improving. So, this the whole region and the whole bloc and all members of that bloc, they grow and the standard of living becomes better in all the countries. But there are certain costs associated with regional economic integration. So, we will discuss the limitations or the costs of regional economic integration. The cost of regional economic integration includes loss of national sovereignty, increased competition for domestic industries, trade diversion, economic disparities and job shifts, and there are many other costs. The member nations can face challenges with slower decision making, because when all the members will agree, then also the decisions can take place. Larger members imposing policies because they have greater say, and that was one of the reason why Britain exited from the European Union, because the larger members like Germany, they were imposing many policies which were not acceptable to Britain. and the potential for economic instability to spread across the integrated region. So, specific drawbacks we will discuss one by one of regional economic integration. The first, as we have discussed in the previous paragraph, is the loss of sovereignty. The member states may have to give up control over certain trade policies, regulations and monetary policies to a regional body, reducing their autonomy. So, when we talk about European Union, because that is the best example of any regional economic integration, we find that there is a body, European Union, which is controlling all the member nations. So, all the regulations, policies which are framed there is imposed on all the member nations, and they have to abide by it. So, if an individual member wants to do the things differently, that is not possible. So, that is why we can say there is a loss of sovereignty and autonomy. Member nations need to harmonize their key policies like monetary, fiscal and trade policies for deeper integration. In this process, they may need to give up considerable control over key policies. So, till the European nation survives, so we can say that of course the member nations are not very much worried about these policies and the issue of sovereignty. But if sovereignty matters to a particular country, they may exit from such a union, as was the case of Brexit. Then another problem with regional integration is transitional adjustment costs. So, this happens in case of formation stage of the bloc. During the integration process, economies experience transitional welfare losses. Industries go out of business due to increased competition. So, it takes time to settle down and seep in the integration process, because you have to change your policies according to the what is dictated by the higher level union. Resources are reallocated to new uses. This can lead to temporary unemployment and idle capacity in some of the nations. Then another is increased competition. Domestic industries, particularly those that are less competitive, may face significant challenges from stronger regional competitors, which can lead to job losses and business closure. As we have said that in a bloc, there is a free movement of goods and services. So, obviously, a country where which is producing that product most economically will have an advantage, and this product will enter into another member nation's country. So, the domestic industry of that other country will suffer, because now a cheaper and better quality product is available from other member nation. So, the domestic industry of the second country will slowly dwindle, and that may lead to job losses also. Economic disparities. The benefit of integration are not always evenly distributed among member nations, potentially widening existing economic gaps between richer and poorer regions or within countries. So, as we have discussed in the previous paragraphs also, that the major economies, they have, or major members, they have more say in policy formation. Also, they are better equipped. They can produce the products at the lowest cost. So, the businesses are going towards the already developed members in a bloc. So, the poorer nations may become all the more poorer. So, this may happen, and that is why many of the European East European countries, they have not grown or they have not shown that much of growth even after joining the European Union. Trade diversion. Member nations may shift trade from more efficient, lower cost non-member suppliers to less efficient, higher cost regional producers, leading to less optimal allocation of resources globally. This we have discussed earlier also. Since we are buying only from are member nations, though a non-member may be more cost effective in terms of production, still the trade is moving from there to the member nations. So, globally optimal utilization of or allocation of resources will not be possible. Coordination and administrative costs are also there. Integrating policies, governance systems and regulatory framework across different nations requires significant financial and administrative resources. So, that problem also erupts. Policy imposition and tensions may also be there. Larger member states, as we have discussed, can exert influence, potentially imposing their policies on smaller nations and causing political tensions or conflicts over decision making. So, the larger members like Germany, France, of European Union, Italy, they exert more pressure and take all the decisions, and that is imposed on other members who have little say in the running of the European Union. So, this sometimes leads to tensions. Slower decision making. Since many members are there in the bloc and any decision should be consensual and lots of discussion happens before the decisions could be taken. So, the decision making process becomes slower. Like a sovereign country can take decision quickly, but if it is a part of a bloc, then naturally the decision making will slow down. So, reaching consensus among multiple member nations can be a complex and time consuming process, leading to slower decision making and their implementation. Spread of economic problems. So, if there is an economic problem in one member nation, then it will quickly flow to other member nations, and they will also be affected by that phenomena. So, in a highly integrated region, you cannot remain immune to the economic issues. So, economic issues such as financial crisis can spread more easily and quickly from one member country to others. So, if there is a recession in one of the country, so it will move to from there to other countries as well. Destruction of indigenous or domestic industry, as we again talked about that how only the efficient members in the production of a particular commodity that will survive, but those which are not that efficient or their indigenous industry is not a highly technical or technological changes have not happened in that country, then that indigenous industry will die. Some producers may manage to cope up with the competition, whereas others which lack international standards may lose the market. Even some industries may need to make painful adjustments to sustain in the market, like lower profits, retrenchment of labor, bearing high cost of production. Then there is risk of unemployment, which goes together with loss of industry, as member countries may have different wage structures. There may be movement of workers or low cost or better skill, which may hamper the employment level in the domestic country. So, people may move out of your country because if they are getting benefit in other countries. So, there will be employment problem, and also there may be unemployment problem when industries they slowly the indigenous industry they slowly close down, or inefficient industries they close down, that lead to unemployment. Leads to more trade diversion than creation. So, less trade creation happens because of regional economic integration. This argument says that more trade diversion happens. So, trade diversion takes place when lower cost suppliers outside the regional trading bloc are replaced by higher cost suppliers within the bloc. Trade creation takes place when high cost producers, domestic or external, are replaced by lower cost producers, domestic or external. So, difficulty to create and sustain regional trading blocs are there. A country as a whole may gain, but certain groups within it may lose. So, that is the reason that in NAFTA, North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement, textile workers in Canada and US lost their jobs as firms shifted to Mexico. Now we will discuss the next heading, that is the integration efforts in among countries. Now if we talk about integration efforts, the efforts happened in North America, Europe and Asia. So first we will discuss integration efforts in North America. So when we talk about efforts in North America, you know that one strong regional economic integration happened between the three countries, that United States of America, Canada and Mexico, and which erstwhile was known as NAFTA, that is American Free Trade Agreement. So United States of America emerged as the major player in the formation of regional trading bloc in the form of preferential trade agreement. Now, why they went for that? This has led to the emergence of, as we said, US took the first step, and this led to emergence of North American Free Trade Agreement, which is an agreement signed between Canada and US initially, and later Mexico became its member. Now, there were certain reasons why they formed this integration, or such integration efforts took place in North America. First, it was to foster political stability and economic progress. US liberalized trade with Mexico to support a democratic government and more market oriented policies since 1980s. So, if we look into the history, so US liberalized their trade with the Mexico. More open market ensures economic growth and improved standard of living in Mexico, ultimately a stable political environment. So, if we think about these three countries, that is USA, Canada and Mexico, we will find that the North American countries like Canada and USA are their economic growth took place, industrialization took place very early, and the economies grew like anything, and they became especially USA became a superpower also. But as USA is sharing its border with Mexico, we find that Mexico, the living standards is low, the economic growth is poor in Mexico, and there are many other problems, especially the unstable political environment is all there, unstable political environment is also there. That is affecting the lives of Mexican population, and there is this problem of immigration from Mexico to USA, and many a times USA is cracking down this kind of movement of people from Mexico to USA. So, the idea behind this type of NAFTA type of agreement was that if the whole region grows and the situation in Mexico improves with a stable political environment, economic growth, then naturally people will find jobs over there only. So, they will not cross the border and enter into US, and the whole of the region will see growth. Another reason was to foster reforms. Preferential trade agreements encourage member nations to undertake economic, social and political reforms. Reforms were necessary not only in US and Canada, but majorly in Mexico. So, the idea of NAFTA was when certain standards have to be met, then Mexico will also undertake some economic, social and political reforms. NAFTA helped Mexico create an economic environment where Mexican workers can seek employment in Mexico rather than in USA. Another reason is to encourage more rapid progress towards trade liberalization. Now, preferential trade agreements hasten the progress of multilateral trade negotiation and reduction of barriers. So, when progress will happen in the whole of the region, naturally the barriers will be removed and the economic progress will take place. So, more liberalized will be the whole of the region. So, that was the idea behind NAFTA, that liberalization will be there. So, goods will be freely moving from Canada, US and Mexico to each other's place or region. The GATT-Uruguay round agreement was a step to reduce trade distorting agricultural policies. So, we will take this example. So, Uruguay round happened and they tried to come to an agreement, or resolution was passed to reduce trade distorting agricultural policies. Since the progress in it was so slow, US, Mexico and Canada negotiated to ratify NAFTA. So, uh, the failure of GATT, or the different, when GATT could not cater to the local needs of a region, so naturally there was an emergence of a regional economic integration, as was the case of NAFTA in case of North American countries. Now, another reason was to counter economic political power of other parts of the world. So, changes were happening all over the world. New regional economic integrations were taking place, especially when European Union came into picture. So, it was a threat to the to America and other countries, that some of the regions are joining hands together, the member nations are joining hands together and they are growing. So, to counter that kind of changes, NAFTA was created. NAFTA created the world's largest free trade area. If we think about the region wise, the area wise, so NAFTA is much bigger than European Union, because if we think about the land area, the Canada, US, Mexico, these are all big countries. Then what are the reasons for such integration efforts that we have discussed? So, NAFTA was needed to counter the growth of other strong blocs like the European Union, the Mercosur, which was a South American countries regional economic integration, beside the Association of Southeast Asian countries, that is ASEAN. So, many other regions were joining, members were joining hand together, they were forming these blocs. So, NAFTA was created to counter attack such economic blocs. So, let us summarize what we have studied in this lecture. So, we have continued our discussion on benefits of regional economic integration. The other economic benefits of regional economic integration are increased trade, economies of scale, market expansion, enhanced competitiveness, job creation, greater investment, improved resource allocation. The political and social benefits of regional economic integration are enhanced political cooperation, political stability, peace, enhanced global influence, shared public goods, cultural exchange and improved living standards. The cost of regional economic integration, or the demerits or limitations, include loss of national sovereignty, increased competition for domestic industries, potential for economic disparities and job shifts, coordination costs and trade diversion. We have also discussed the integration efforts in North America. It was initiated by USA, which led to the emergence of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, an agreement between US, Canada and Mexico. The reasons for integration efforts in North America was to foster political stability and economic progress, reforms and to counter economic and political power of other parts of the world. For reference, these books are there, one by C.B. Gupta, another by Sumati Verma, another by Chaturvedi and others. It is a scholar publication, quite new in the market. And then there is one international book which I referred to, and that is Hill and Hult. Have a nice day and have a good read. I hope you will enjoy the lecture. You have enjoyed the lecture. Thank you very much, students.